Hello, Deviant students. I am here to chat with you about the course project that you have yet to do. So I thought I'd make a little video to help you out. And I'm over on this side of the screen so that you can look behind me. Hard to see, but there is a kitty named Aries. Aries, Aries. He's a cat. Okay. So, all right. Now that we have gazed upon his sleeping cuteness, let's talk about stigma. Yeah, I know, sweetie. I have another kitty who's very excited about being excluded. But you're a good girl. Okay. Let's look at the course project. Nope, nope, nope. Oops. You did the first one, which was breaching. The second one is all about stigma. Yay! So, yes, exactly. Come here. I know. So, this is what you're going to do. It has two components. The first thing is you're going to do what we call in sociology an autoethnography, which sounds super cool. But essentially what it is, you're going to be researching yourself. So you're going to be taking notes on your own experiences with stigma. So I ask that you take a week and keep a journal, whether that's just a list of experiences you have or whatever it is, and write down how you do experience stigma. And I guarantee you do in some area of your life. So, as I say on here, take at least one page of notes on your experiences with stigma. You will also upload that in addition to your paper. Now that you have your experiences, again, you are what you're researching. This is an autoethnography. You're going to be looking for, really you're going to be talking about how you experience stigma. So you're going to be using a lot of Goffman terms, and I'm going to help you out with that in just a minute, because I know a lot of you were not there when we discussed stigma in class. So I'm going to go over it again really briefly. And second, you're going to write a paper. What do I say? A two-page double-spaced paper in which you apply the course terms and concepts and talk about stigma. So I want you to use Goffman's terminology. I want you to talk about what type of stigma it is, and there are three types, whether it is discredited or discreditable. Those are two other categories of stigma. And then what are some of the ways, come here, baby, that you deal with it? Like, what are some ways that you deal with the awkwardness? Oh, hi. I have another kitty up here who's being cute. So, that's what you do. Yeah. So it's really just a two-page paper talking about your experiences with stigma that you take from your autoethnographic notes. And I want you to apply some terms from Goffman and talk about your experiences, talk about how other people react to you, talk about when your stigma becomes apparent to you. And then while we have a second, I also, look at that, how'd that happen? Okay. So, here is what you missed if you were not there. I'm going to talk about it really quickly. Irving Goffman wrote about stigma in the 1950s, and it's an awesome book. You should totally read it if you haven't. Anyway, he talks about what stigma is, and essentially, think about stigma, it's deviating from a norm. I mean, it's a deviance class, of course it is. So, and it's negative. It's not a positive thing. It's not like you deviate by being richer, right? And we all experience stigma according to Goffman. He says there are, ow! Ow! Sorry, I had a cat who just decided to scratch me to tell me she needed attention. Okay. Anyway, there are three big types of stigma. And these are Goffman's terms. I didn't come up with them. I know they're horrific and they're from the 50s. Keep that in mind. There's body abominations. Those obviously map onto bodies. There are character blemishes. Those are ways that we behave. Excuse me. And then there's tribal. And that means things that your family passed along to you, like social class, like race. So I'm just going to leave it there because there's more I could say, but no. Okay. And He says no matter which of those three kinds you have, and you have one of those three at least, you have two ways of experiencing it, whether it is discredited, your stigma, or discreditable. Discredited means it is perceivable. As soon as you enter the room, you can use one of your five senses to determine that you have a stigma. A lot of it is based on sight. So, so for example, I have Fat Albert. He is both fat and black, two sources of discredited stigma. They are apparent the second you look at him. Discreditable, oh, by the way, and the way that you deal with discredited stigmas, your coping strategy is that you manage tension, meaning it is incumbent upon you as the person with the stigma to help people who don't have the stigma feel more comfortable being around your hideousness. Pretty cool that way. But if you think about it, that's actually really cool. Or not cool, I mean, that's actually really true. Think about all the times that you have a stigma that's apparent right away, you have an obvious disability, or you are you're fat, or you wear a hijab. One of the ways that you might deal with that is to make jokes about it right away. And that is to acknowledge that there is something causing stress in the situation and to make everyone comfortable with it. So Goffman says that's up to you as a person with the stigma to make everyone okay with your stigma. Pretty cool that way. All right, so I'm having some computer issues, so I had to go back just a little bit. Forgive me if this is a little disjointed, but now I want to talk about discreditable stigma as opposed to discredited. So discredited, you know right away. It is perceptible through whatever senses you have. It can be something you smell or hear or see. Discreditable, you don't know when you interact with someone that they have this stigma. It can be a bodily thing. It can be that they have a hidden disability. It can be a character thing. So my example here is this group of three is polyamorous. You don't know that, but you just don't know because it is not easily perceivable. So let's say you are the person with that stigma now. You now have to ask yourself, all right, when I enter into a room, no one knows. So I have to decide, what do I do with the information? Do I sweep all that under the rug and continue passing? Or do I come out to people? And either way, it's a lot of stress on people to decide whether or not they want to continue in invisibility or they want to come out and then make it discredited. So it's a whole different way of experiencing stigma. So again, Goffman says when you're obviously discredited, you have to manage other people's tensions. When you're discreditable, you have to decide whether or not you're going to pass, meaning you're going to pretend that you're someone who doesn't have that stigma, or you're going to have to decide when to come out. So let's see, do I have any others? Yeah, that's all true. Really, I'm just excited that you use those terms right there that we just talked about. You are familiar enough with the three types, the two ways of dealing with them. You talk about covering or passing or what have you. I want you to be familiar with those when you write your 2-page paper and think about that in terms of how you have dealt with your stigma, whether people knew what it was or not. Anyway, if you have any questions about this assignment, feel free to text me, email me, whatever. Have a delightful day. Good luck on this.